Hello learners, it's me Anu, your math enthusiast from channel Class 6 Maths with our ongoing chapter of fractions. I hope all of you are gaining from my videos, so just keep watching and keep learning. And those who haven't seen the previous videos or want to revise it can check it out on my channel Class 6 Maths in the fractions playlist. So before we move ahead with our today's topic, let me give you all an overview of what all we learned in the previous videos. Firstly, we learned about fractions. Fraction is a part of a whole. It is represented using two numbers. That is, one is written above the line, that is known as numerator, and the number written below the line is denominator. After that, we learned about fractions on the number line. Then we learned types of fractions. Firstly, proper fraction, in which numerator is less than denominator. Example, 1 by 2, 3 by 5, etc. Then we learned about improper fraction, in which numerator is greater than denominator. Example, 3 by 2, 7 by 5, etc. Then we learned about mixed fractions. Mixed fraction is a combination of a whole number and a proper fraction. Example, 1, 3 by 4, 3, 7 by 9, etc. Then lastly, we learned about conversion of improper fraction into mixed fraction and mixed fraction into improper fraction. Now moving ahead to today's topic of equivalent fractions. Now let's learn equivalent fractions using fraction strips. So the first strip is divided into 2 equal parts, then the next one in 4 equal parts, followed by 6 equal parts, 4, 5 and 6, and lastly in 8 equal parts, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now let's color them up. In the first strip, we have shaded one part out of 2 equal parts, so fraction is 1 by 2. Then in the next strip, we have shaded 2 parts out of 4 parts, so fraction becomes 2 by 4. Then in the third strip, we have shaded 3 parts out of 6, so fraction is 3 by 6. And lastly, we have shaded 4 parts out of 8 parts, so fraction becomes 4 by 8. These fractions are representing the shaded portions, the shaded part out of the total number of parts. So class, if we overlap one strip over the other, we will observe that they are representing the same shaded portion. Although we can see that the numerators and denominators are different, but when we put them one over the other, pictorially, they are going to represent the same shaded portion. So that is why these are the equivalent fractions. I hope everyone agrees with me. So yes, 1 by 2, 2 by 4, 3 by 6, 4 by 8 are equivalent fractions. So let's learn more about it. Let's define equivalent fractions. All of you listen carefully. Equivalent fractions have different numerators and denominator, but they represent the same part of a whole, as I have already explained using fraction strips. Example, 1 by 2, 2 by 4, 3 by 6, 4 by 8. These are all equivalent fractions. Let's take one more interesting example to explain equivalent fractions. So I was having a chocolate bar which I had to share it with my younger brother. So what I did, I divided the chocolate into 2 equal parts so that each one of us will get half of the chocolate, one part out of the 2 equal parts. But my brother started asking for more chocolate. He said, Didi, I don't want one piece, I want 2 pieces of chocolate. I agreed to him easily. Why, class? Because I already knew equivalent fractions. I divided the chocolate further into 2 parts, which means I divided it into total 4 equal parts so that each one of us will get 2 parts out of 4 parts. I hope everyone understood it. So basically what happened, now the number of parts have increased, but the share that I was giving to him remains the same. Earlier I was giving him 1 part out of 2, this much. Now I'm giving him 2 parts, but the amount of chocolate remains the same. Isn't it interesting, class? He's also happy and I'm also happy because he's getting 2 pieces of chocolate, but still the share of the chocolate remains the same. So class, you can clearly see that math is applicable everywhere in our day-to-day life. Now, how to make equivalent fractions? Let's see that. Now, let's learn the rules to obtain an equivalent fractions. First one, to find an equivalent fraction of a given fraction, you may multiply both the numerator and the denominator of the given fraction with the same number. So class, this is very important to understand that we have to multiply using the same number, and both numerator and denominator has to be multiplied. I have one example here. 1 by 2 and 2 by 4, they are equivalent fractions. We have learned it using fraction strips as well. So how did we obtain it? We are multiplying the numerator also with 2 and denominator also with 2. So we are getting 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 as equivalent fractions. Let's take one more interesting example. 1 by 2 and 3 by 6 are also equivalent fractions. Let's see how. If I multiply the numerator with 3 and denominator also with 3, I am getting 3 by 6. So we can clearly see that 1 by 2 and 3 by 6 are equivalent fractions. Quite easy, class. Moving ahead to the next rule. Second rule to obtain an equivalent fraction is using division. Here also both the numerator and the denominator has to be divided by the same number. So here we have 4 by 6 is equal to 2 by 3. Let's see how. So we have divided the numerator as well as the denominator with the same number, that is 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So both of these are equivalent fractions. Let's take one more example, class. So we can take 9 by 12 and 3 by 4. They are also equivalent fractions. Let's check how. So here I am going to divide 9 by 12 with the same number, 3 and 3. So I have divided the numerator as well as the denominator with the same number, that is 3. So 9 divided by 3, I am getting 3, and 12 divided by 3, I am getting 4. So it's clearly seen that 9 by 12 and 3 by 4 are equivalent fractions. So let me summarize. So there are two ways of obtaining the equivalent fractions. One is using multiplication, other is using division. But the condition remains the same, that both numerator and the denominator has to be multiplied or divided with the same number. I hope all of you are gaining from my videos. So please keep watching, keep learning, and please do like, share and subscribe my channel for more such content. Thank you. Bye-bye.